Well, welcome. Let's see. Personal log. Uh, Quarantine day 55. Start date May 4th, 2020. I've been alone. No. I have been watching way too much Star Trek. So my husband and I have binged um, first with the free CBS month. We watched all of Picard, and then we watched 2 seasons of Discovery. And then he felt like he needed to go back and watch the last Next Generation movie, which I couldn't do. And so I'm a little Star Trek on the brain, but I definitely need a new binge. And then we watched finished Westworld last night, which was mind blowing as usual. So it's time for some good, like a rom-com at this point. So this was a really rough week. And I'm not talking about the virus or being on day 55 of shelter in place or the effects of binge watching TV on the brain. It just seemed like the process of the class had a little breakdown. So, and those of you who are probably following along with the process really easily are the ones watching this, and those of you who need some help are not. So I'm just shouting out to really do a couple of things. One, every week on Monday, check your homework because I'll typically have graded it by then. Read the comments, read the general overview in the written announcement, read the examples, click on the URLs, get all that background information. Then hopefully listen to this announcement. And then when you go into the next module, really click through all the steps. What I sort of figured out from a couple of you, actually a few of you, is that you're not really doing all those steps. You're jumping in the middle or at the end and just doing stuff, and sometimes not even really reading the rubric. So this doesn't work because, as I've always told my online classes, especially classes where I am the course creator and I have actually built every single thing, the rubrics, the exercises, that's all great. But what really matters are announcements and emails, because that's the teacher up front in a classroom going blah, blah, the Charlie Brown sound. But that is really what this is. It's what my announcements are. It's what my emails are. So if you don't read that stuff, then basically it's like half the class, because I'm really trying to help you get to your final project. And that is really my goal. And it's a lot easier if we have a communication. So please, if there's a problem, sooner than later, let me know. I can help. I can arrange, I can change, I can tweak, I can fix. If you decide to make decisions on your own, they might not work for the class or for me in terms of what you need for the next step. So I hope we can do that. We are only in module 4. We're going to crack over into the next half, but not for 2 weeks. So let's do that. My history with newsletters is extremely long. I built my website. I did not build it. My website was built, Passive Voice, in the year 2000. And from that point, I had a sign up for a newsletter on that website, and I used Constant Contact. And Constant Contact, for a while there, I used it a lot. I at some years I had 4 different books coming out, either 2 reprints and 2 new ones. Those were the years I was writing romances, and I needed to, keep people going. I had a very active newsletter list, growing. I think I still have over 500 people who haven't unsubscribed yet. So I have a lot of experience, and I have written so many newsletters And I know kind of what works and what doesn't work. And I hope I've imparted that to you. And I've left you some examples of things that aren't perfect by any means, but they're on their way in some way. So either the template really worked, or the interaction really worked, or there were images, there were hyperlinks, there was social media. So take all of them together and see what you can employ in your newsletter. Also, I've left you very specific comments, usually under the enticement rubric, about stuff you can do. In terms of interviews, I've also, in the grading area, I've left you 3 or 4, I think 3, maybe 4 links of interviews that, again, have very specific things that work. They all don't work together. But I mean, I think Nicholas Sparks is really, very smooth, and Audible did it. And Audible is a great, Audible has a lot of money, and Audible does a lot of stuff. They actually bought, I think it was 11 of my short stories a few years ago. And boy, it was just like clockwork, and it's shiny, and the people who did the stories were fantastic. And you can see that in his interview, that there's a lot of production value. We don't need that. Gillian Flynn's interview has very little production value. The guy's sitting behind like a school desk, but they had a great repartee, and they bounced off each other a little bit, and also she didn't belabor her points or herself. So look around and then do your own Googling. Find your author, listen to his interviews, her interviews. Search for people you like otherwise and see what they do in an interview. It's really a skill. You really have to practice at it. And obviously I took all of that into account. So there wasn't a grading problem. It's just I want you to see what's possible. Okay. It's 40 degrees here in, Vancouver, Washington, and I'm hoping that it will rise up a little bit and I can have like half an hour out on my porch. And then we get started on Module 4, which is about bios. And, that's another tricky subject. So let's have fun with that. Get up on the board early, see what happens. And please, any issues, just give me a jingle. Okay, have a good one.